Coming up next on the Santita Jackson Show is our Say What segment.
Welcome back to yet another edition of the Santita Jackson Show. Let's start with our hot topic of the day. Say what? Colorism. Is it back? You know what they used to say. If you're black, get back. If you're brown, stick around. If you are yellow, you're mellow. If you are white, you are right. Not in that order, but you get the point. Sammy Sosa has gotten skin bleaching. But he's not alone. It's taking off all over Africa, in India, all around the world. Have we gone back? Go to the number at the bottom of your screen and tell us what you think. Or go to the Santita Jackson fan page. We want to hear from you. But right now we want to hear from our panel. Attorney Linda Bernard.
Hi, how are you
How
today,
are you?
Santita?
Imam Dawood Walid. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. And of course, you're balanced by another person of the cloth, Bishop Pastor Allison Abrams. We're so glad to have you all today.
Good to be here.
Oh, right. So who wants to begin here? I mean, well, let me go to you. You're the lone man on the panel. You've got to hold it up for the guys today. Imam Dawood Walid, talk to me. Do you think that something else is happening with color? I mean, is bright right now? Is something happening?
Well, I think for us as African Americans, I think we've actually evolved and gone a step further than, like you mentioned, Africa, for instance, what's going on in Senegal or in Egypt or even India in the South Asian subcontinent. As far as skin bleaching, as far as propping up people or seeing the standard of beauty as being light skin. I remember growing up in the 80s and the whole school days thing and so-called light skin, good hair. And I remember the transition when the early and mid 90s came, especially with the hip hop generation of people like Tupac Shakur and Tretch and Tyrese, where men who are darker and even having bald heads were seen and lifted up as being sex symbols in the black community. So I think that we don't place as much emphasis on so-called light skin and good hair as we did decades ago. But unfortunately, our brothers and sisters back in the motherland, skin bleaching, this whole Fair and Lovely skin bleaching cream that's out now, it's blown up.
You know, I think it's here.
I just wanted to say, Santita, I want to chime in that
Pastor, Bishop. No, I have to give you your handle.
Right.
Bishop Allison
Thank
Abrams.
you. I've seen, I guess, the children that are on commercials that are picked for television shows and that are used a lot in media. They are the light skin with the curly hair, and they seem to be mixed. And so, you know, that caught my eye because I thought we had moved beyond that age, moved beyond that time. So I don't know if we've regressed or if we ever left that point, but it seems like we are there.
Well, before Linda, before Attorney Bernard jumps in, a friend of mine has a beautiful daughter who is an African immigrant. They went to, her church has adopted a village in Africa, and they brought a couple of the children back, and their daughter can model, and the agent said, tell the people that she's African, that she's from Africa. It will help her. The girl's very brown.
Okay.
I mean, it's just, I'm just piggybacking on what you're saying. I mean, I think, you're onto something. Linda?
Well, I think being your complexion, being the complexion, like you said, of Beyonce, of the president, etc., is the new acceptable color. I mean, Beyonce was voted the most beautiful woman in the world. I mean, that's sort of caramel, a cocoa, liette is in. It just is. And I think it is in part because there's so much biracial things going on. I mean, a lot of people, you see white people adopting black children. So in many instances, they will, of course, date ultimately white people because that's their circle for the most part. I mean, there's just this, everyone's trying to become homogenous. And the Hispanic influence, I mean, you could be Spanish, you could be black, you could be any, Dominican Republican, you could be anything.
But all black people... that makes, I tell you why that makes, why the whole discussion makes me uncomfortable. My mother, who is browner.
Your mother's brown skin.
And phenotypically, no question about it, black woman, right? Which I am. That said, she said, we object to the black blood. That's the issue. Because many black folks, you know, that's Dr. Henry Louis Gates, his show, when he does the DNA test and you find out that you're not as Indian as you thought you were, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you see the disappointment register on everyone's faces when they find out that, no, you're not Indian at all, you're 97.9% black. You know, what is our problem with having black blood?
But if I can jump in for a second, and we're talking about this whole issue of skin color, I like to make a caveat. There's a difference between what media lifts up in the entertainment industry in comparison to what's accepted in our community. And I don't think that we've overcome that so-called light skin, good hair thing, but I do think that it has regressed and it has gone down. So just because modeling agencies, TV corporations that we don't own, that we don't control, lifts up those lighter skin images, it doesn't mean that in the black community that we hold up just light skin and so-called good hair as being the pinnacle of the peak of beauty. I think that we've grown past that, some as African Americans.
But ma'am, just because the fact that we're still talking about good hair in 2013,
so-called good hair.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, to me. I mean, I think this is so. I think it's back. I think it's bigger than ever.
I don't think that we've moved beyond it in our own community. If we listen to the imam's comment where he talks about, okay, let's take out media, then let's take out media and let's take out print. Our people still, I think, feel like there's something special or something better about those who have a lighter color skin. And that's what I've seen when you talk about people who hold offices, people who are in leadership. You know, you still have some persons who will select that person who has a lighter color skin over the one who has a darker color skin.
Really?
I don't know why that is, but that's just an observation. That's an observation.
Why it is. You come on.
You started the show with it. You know, white makes right. That's the reason.
How can we get past that?
I'm sorry?
I mean, how can we get past that? Because I think the first thing we've got to do is acknowledge that that is what is going on, because I'm seeing a lot of young girls. This is what is breaking my heart. I'm seeing girls who are not teenagers who are wearing full-on straight wigs. Now, clearly, I'm sitting up here with a dye job with golden hair. You know I wasn't born with this. But I'm a grown woman, and I've made a choice, and I'm having fun. And I'm a little older, so, you know, I'm doing a lift. That said, I'm seeing children who don't like their own hair.
But the painful reality is in our community as black folk, and this mentality that still exists, we still have not fully dealt with the psychological scars of slavery, because really this is where it all goes back to. We still haven't, we haven't fleshed it out as a community. We still haven't dealt with it totally, because we still look at lighter skin, that's equated with the white slave master. And
so you are saying that it's still in effect?
It is. I believe it's gone away some, but that mentality that still exists in too many of us, it really goes back to psychological conditioning that we as a people have not fully dealt with, that goes back hundreds of years to when we looked at the person who was in the big house always had lighter skin and they ate better and they had more privileges. The ones who were darker were the field Negroes who were in the field, and we still dealing with that.
But there was a movie about hair, one of your colleagues.
Sure was.
Good hair?
Yes, it was.
And it was so clear that in the African American community now we buy like millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of Indian hair. I mean, black women have decided that they like long hair. And my position is viva la différence.
Yeah.
You don't, I mean, and he made the point in the movie that nobody asked for African hair or anything like that. We understand that, but it's just for many women, they feel that they're more glamorous, whether they're in the arts or actresses or whatever, than otherwise. And if that's what they want to do and that's what they want to wear, you know, why not? I don't think it's a rejection of their blackness. I think it's just from the ladies that I've seen here and everywhere else, and they just like it more. They like that long, you know, flowing look. And white girls put all kinds of pieces in their hair. I mean, whether it's Kardashian or Hilton or any of the rest of them. I mean, this is the look of the new millennium.
But you know, now that you mention
white
that,
women aren't getting kinky hair weaves.
No, but they're getting pieces put in. They get long hair.
And they are Africanizing themselves, everything but their hair, on one level. It's so funny. It seems like Hispanics and white women have the space to enlarge their behinds, to make their lips fuller.
Right.
And it seems
and
that
stay in the tanning booth.
And it seems that we are doing the opposite. When are we all going to get right? I mean, and be happy with who you are. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I think that however you wear your hair, it's great.
Right.
I'm just saying, don't reject this?
Well, let me ask a question, or let me just point something out. Also, and I grew up in the South, and so I've
I
seen
grew up on the
this.
South Side of Chicago.
But I've seen this from growing up, as well as it still goes on now. But any person who has a darker color skin always feels like they need to date or marry someone who has a lighter color skin. So now I think that's still ingrained in us. As Imam Daewoo said, you know, that mentality is still there. The slave master, what he implanted in people years ago, is still there.
But there's so much interracial dating now. I mean, it's like, you know, like the barriers are really down. Interracial adoption. I mean, we really are becoming one melting pot, based on what your father would say, in terms as a people. I mean, we're all looking the same. We're all kind of, you know, getting lighter, you said, or we're not getting darker, but we're getting lighter because of this whole intermarriage and interrelationship sort of paradigm.
Well, use that example on yourself. You keep pointing to me. Look at you. I mean, really? You know, I think the real point is for us to really embrace ourselves. I think of that song, To Be Young, Gifted, and Black. It is where it's at. For so many of our young people, I don't want anyone to be excluded. I think that we have got to begin to embrace every member of the human family. Red, black, yellow, and white. We are all precious in God's sight. I think I heard someone say that before.
Yeah.
Was that my father,
Reverend
Jesse
Jackson.
Jackson? Yes. But it's true. It's true. I don't think anybody should reject any part of their heritage, especially the black one. Let's embrace that. Let's get well together. Colorism is still in effect all over the world. We can make that change. We'll have more in a moment.
Being your best self.
Previously on Being Your Best Self, on dating, online dating, we talked with the men about how they feel about it. Well, now let's talk with the ladies. What do you think about this? Oh, I can't wait. All right. I want to hear from you, Attorney Linda Bernard. Oh, Deanna Solomon. You are a first lady, a newlywed political consultant. Of course, you're a brilliant attorney, Linda Bernard. And this is a law student who's following you into the profession, and she is also the press secretary for our beloved Congressman John Conyers. Davon Darby, welcome back, everybody.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, don't be so quiet.
Thank you.
I know everybody's got opinions about online dating, but you know, let me go to Davon first, because this is more of, if I must say, more of your generational thing, or is it not? Would you date someone online that you met online?
Well, I don't set out to, you know, to eHarmony or Christian Mingle. I don't look for that.
What
I'm
about
on
even
Facebook.
Facebook?
I'm
Okay.
on, you know, Twitter. So on Facebook, I can actually go to your profile, and if you don't have a conclusive profile and it looks like you might be fake, then I probably wouldn't even talk to you to get to that point.
But how do you know? I mean, when
Well,
you look at
after-
your Facebook profile, help me out with that.
yeah, after you talk for a while, you know.
You mean
but
after you type for
yeah,
a
after
while?
you type, and then you move to the texting, and then you move to a phone call or two, and maybe you meet
You would
out
call
in
someone
public.
you met on Facebook?
I call people that I meet online all the time for business.
Really?
So
well,
yeah, I mean,
okay.
I call people that I meet all the time. I mean, meeting online is now the
Going,
thing for
you know, I
2013.
produce in my other life. I'm like, you know, I do bring people on to different shows.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
But into my life?
well, me going out with you in public is not particularly my life, because the person that I might meet at an event, I don't particularly know you, but we might like something about one another and we might go out. But I don't particularly set out for an online type of thing, because I feel like I go out enough and I'm around enough different people to where I can actually be invited on a date or go on a date with somebody that I
Plus,
actually
you're a
have met
beautiful young lady.
in person.
But
one
so
day.
you're saying you wouldn't reject it.
I wouldn't. I'm not.
Okay.
My mind's not close to that.
Deanna Solomon, what are we going to do with this baby? We've got to take her home.
Yes, we do.
I am frightened to death for her. What?
Well, she's such a beautiful young woman,
is.
and I don't think that she needs any extra tools to help her.
But to be
connect
fair, she's got an
with the right
extraordinary
guy.
life. I mean, because she is the press secretary for one of the most respected congressmen in the United States of
Yes.
America. She's in law school. She is in environments where she's meeting people constantly. a lot of people don't have existences that put them out here the way Davon's does.
They don't, and I have lots of friends that fall into those categories. I encourage them to get out and connect with others for lots of different reasons, not for the purpose of just dating. I think you said it earlier, and you have to be your best self, and is being your best self at home, on the computer, alone. And I'm not a fan of online dating.
But
I'm not
why?
a personal fan.
What is it about online dating that gets stuck in your craw?
I've seen just a few situations with online dating where people have created fake profiles.
They've been catfishing.
Oh, nobody's going
Was
to tell
that-
the
was
truth
that the
about
football
everything.
player?
Yeah, Mateo, yes, catfishing.
Okay, so explain catfishing, because I've been trying to wrap myself around that. Because what did you think about that case? Give us a snapshot of it. What happened?
I don't really care for
What's
all
the young man's name?
Mateo, the football player at Notre Dame, I think it was.
Okay, and what happened to him?
He had a girlfriend, and she supposedly
I'm trying
a
to get over
girlfriend
the
from
fact-
online
Okay.
that he never met. Now that right there, to me alone in itself, is crazy. That you've never met this person. I think they had been together for at least a year, and they never met. She died, and then all of a sudden, the person, whatever her name was, the girlfriend, all of a sudden called him after she had died. So catfishing is just a way to, you're online, you're talking to someone, and you're misrepresenting yourself.
Well, now, in his case, which I think is really extraordinary, if I may bring you in, Linda, he is Mormon. He does not believe in premarital sex, and he's a strict adherent to that. To explain him, I could see as a young man how he could get caught in that bubble. Because, in church we're raised not to be intimate outside of marriage. And so I think particularly at that age, so young, I could see how he could really have a chaste relationship, quite frankly. I do. Why are you making that face, Davon? What?
I just can't get past the whole, we've been together for a year or so, and I've never met you. We don't
And
have
she
to
died
have
and
sex,
she came back, and I'm not
but
talking about
it. I could at least,
Okay.
you could at least come sit in the football stands.
No, maybe and maybe not if if she's not in that locality. Many of my friends now are online dating, quite frankly. And I had an online date Friday. He was really
Wait
cool.
a minute, and you've been holding back on your
Well, he
holding
was
back.
sweet. But anyway, but on a real side.
How did you meet this man online? Turn on her. Come
No,
on, what?
He read about me, said he saw something on YouTube that I've not even seen. But I was already on like Plenty of Fish. And so that's how I met him. And several men have called me. But my girlfriends are really into it. And what they really like about it is that they can be particular, Santita, like you. They can say, I don't want a
You
smoker.
calling me out? Why?
I don't want a smoker. I want a person that doesn't, for example, have small children. I don't want, you can put all this in your profile so that people will only respond who meet that criteria, which really eliminates a whole lot of people. A girlfriend of mine right now is dating a guy in Saudi Arabia. Well, he's actually from Texas, but he's been assigned to Saudi Arabia. He's on that oil thing from Houston, and so it's really working out very well. Now he's called her and he told her he wants her to meet her in Paris or something like that. I mean, but you can really connect with people globally.
Did you
using the
connect
internet.
with this man with
Friday?
whom you had this?
Definitely. He was really cute. I mean, really. I mean, I was in a state of shock, and really cool and extremely professional. I mean, and 37. What can I tell you?
Perfect for you.
Right.
There you go.
I think that's fine. I think you just have to be careful. Because
Okay.
that was your first time.
No,
meeting
I
him.
met him at Baker's. I mean, I would meet him
What is
out. I mean, you
Baker's?
don't
Yeah,
meet
yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
but
Yeah, you don't
Baker's
bring
for
a-
those of us who are not in Detroit. What is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. I mean,
Is it a restaurant? Is it
jazz
a
club.
It's a restaurant.
club? Okay.
It's
Jazz
the
club
oldest jazz club
restaurant.
in America.
Yeah.
So Deanna is just sitting here
I
like
know.
she's getting tighter. She's getting narrower as we
I
speak.
do in support
You
of
can't
Linda.
even get it out of your mouth, can you?
In support of Linda, I do have friends that have successfully
correct.
dated online. I'm just speaking about my own personal preference. I was just sharing with someone right before we came on the show that I used to be a flight attendant. I'm a real people person.
Okay.
I love to engage in conversation. I love the face-to-face. And that's just a personal preference of mine to literally connect with someone physically in the present. And watch and observe and just determine if there's a connection based on what I'm seeing.
Okay.
What
You're
bothers-
tactile. You need to
Very
see, feel.
tactile.
Okay, I got you.
But like 2 of the people who contact me are from Chicago, so I get all these emails from Chicago all the time. At these flowers and all this stuff that you can email and everything. And but my point is that it enlarges your hemisphere. I mean, it lets you meet people that you won't meet in Detroit here. I mean, the one Friday was from Charlotte, North Carolina.
I mean, are you part of a site?
Yeah, I'm on
or-
a site. It's called Plenty of Fish. And I didn't even
what is
put
that?
myself on there. A friend of mine put me on because I don't have a lot of patience for all of that. So he put me on there, and that's what occurred.
Plenty of Fish, and they say, you hear my producer over there, Plenty
Yeah,
of Fish.
everybody
and
knows
see,
about
what does
Plenty of
that
Fish.
mean?
It's sort of for people that maybe over 25 maybe, and over 30, and it's really a cool site. And you can really put all this stuff in. Like I'm telling you, you have to be a Christian.
Yes.
For example, my girlfriend rejected a guy because he said he didn't believe in God, and that was just too big for her. She said, he did not believe in God, period.
That's the
so
end
she said,
of
well,
that.
there's no sense in us talking anymore.
Absolutely.
So that was that.
Well, it's no problem with it. You just have to be careful, whether you're on eHarmony, Plenty of Fish, Christian Mingle, Facebook. You just have to be careful because recently there was that guy that ran this money scam in several states across the country, and he recently raped a woman, and so you just have to be careful with that. I know you could meet somebody in person who does the same thing.
That's true.
But the
That's true.
rate probably is much higher when it's somebody online and you've invested some time with them over a couple of months and you feel invested into them emotionally too. You just have to be careful.
Well, you know what I tell you, it's very easy to object to online dating or that which is unfamiliar to you when you don't know someone or when someone you love is not involved in it. But I'm sitting up here talking to the ladies on the sofa, and one of my dearest friends, Linda, just had a wonderful date on Friday night with a
That was
great guy
amazing.
that she met online. And then one of my dearest friends in the world met a gentleman on a Christian website, and they've been happily married for a couple of years. So it can happen, everybody. But I think we just have to be discerning wherever we meet someone. And you know what? Be your best self so that you can attract your best self. Think about it, everybody. More in a moment.
Here's Santita's Up Close with a one-on-one interview.
One-on-one with Banko Lay Thompson. Brilliant journalist, writer, author, best-selling author, in fact. And he's the editor of the Michigan Chronicle, one of the most established and respected black newspapers in the country. But in Detroit, he is also on public radio, on public television. He does it all. And let's talk about communications in this age. I mean, so much is changing, Banko Lay. Now we are connected just by turning on our computers with the whole world. It's just changed how we live from day to day. And it's changing newspapers as well. A lot of newspapers are folding. How is yours able to hold on?
Well, I mean, what we realized, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity to come on this program.
Thank you.
What we realized is that our audience is shifting. They're going online. I mean, they have smartphones, they have iPad, they have the Kindle, high definition. They have all kinds of electronic gadgets that are helping them move online. So what we're doing is, in order to keep track of that, we also have to have a very strong online presence, which we do have, michronicle.com, with, the other entities that we are associated with. Because I think in this age, black media, media outlets that speak to the African-American community.
That's what black media is to you.
Yep. African-American empowerment, whether they're radio, newspapers, and so forth. I think we're being challenged to have a strong online presence.
Do you do outreach to Africans in the diaspora? I mean, because one popular site that I have enjoyed for a long time, I'm seeing a lot of stories about Africa, Atlanta Black Star. Mm-hmm. And I see a lot of stories about Africa pop up. Now, not pop up, they're presented just every day. Is there a push, say, with the Michigan Chronicle, michronicle.com? Are you trying to get blacks who are in the Caribbean, who are in Africa, who are in South America? Because more of us went to Brazil, for example, than came to the United States.
No doubt. I think that's a connection. I call it a struggling connection, an admittance here that we have to do a better job of connecting with our brothers and sisters from the continent of Africa.
Why is that important? Because you are from Gambia,
yes,
originally.
Well, it's important for us to connect. It's part of, we're part of the diaspora. And I think when we look back at the history of the black press, you know, for instance, when Ghana became independent in 57, you know, Dr. King and you know, a cadre of civil rights deputies went to Ghana, where it was a Pittsburgh Courier that covered, you know, Ghana's independence and what it meant and so forth. So I think it's important for us to connect with the African press and the continent of Africa, who are connected with other nations. It's important for us to connect with the Caribbean press in the Caribbean, you know, in terms of knowing what is happening with black people, not only in the country here, but also across the world. That is so important.
So moving forward, what do you, when you talk to young people, what do you want them to know about black-owned media? Because I think we almost have to make that distinction now.
Well, you know,
you have a lot of black-oriented
that's a very interesting question, Santita, because I get requests from students who are finalizing their degree in journalism, for instance, at Wayne State University, and they've been taught by white professors. But most of the time, you know, and they've said this to me, that, you know, when the professors ask them, you know, who do you want to do an interview with for your media management class, I come up all the time. They request them to sit with me instead of, you know, my other colleagues in the media market, because what they say is that the perspective that we put out is so unique and different.
Unique and different how?
Different in terms of we speak to almost, we're in the business of advocacy journalism. We speak to the issues that are affecting our community, and we speak it in a way that doesn't really exist in other media platforms. So even if those students are not necessarily African Americans, just because they're white, they're interested in that perspective. And so they come and talk to us about what we do at the paper, how we put the paper out, and why it's important for us to put that information out there. But I'll tell our journalism students that, look, black-oriented media organizations are important. They're crucial to the survival of our community. I mean, we are, in fact, the gatekeepers. I mean, we're the first trusted source.
Absolutely.
Because there's a cultural connection to what we do, as well as a professional obligation, but also a historical obligation.
Well, I hope you've learned today that you need to ask who owns your media outlet. That's very, very important. He who has the gold makes the rules. And I tell you what, it's important to speak truth to power, and it's important for the people to have a voice. Who's going to speak for the people? More often than not, a newspaper like the Michigan Chronicle, michronicle.com, is going to do just that. And so we thank God for Bankaley Thompson and the NNPA, and so many people who want to give voice to the voiceless. More in just a moment.
If you have a question, an idea for a show topic, or just want to leave a comment, log on to Facebook and visit the Santita Jackson fan page. And don't forget to follow her on Twitter at SantitaJ. Thanks for watching this edition of the Santita Jackson Show.